The hook, suspense, and mystery. The auction hall smelled of rust, grease, and old dreams. Rows of battered ships stood in silence, their broken hulls and dead engines waiting for someone foolish or desperate enough to claim them. Most people walked past quickly. Some were too expensive. Others were beyond repair. But one ship caught his eye. It was hidden in the corner, covered in dust and scratches. Its once bright metal was dull, eaten by time and forgotten battles. Cracks lined its surface, and its engines looked like they hadn't roared in centuries. Nobody bid on it. Nobody even stopped to look, and yet he couldn't walk away. Something about the ship called to him, pulling at his chest like a whisper he couldn't quite hear. The auctioneer laughed when he raised his hand. "This wreck? Boy, you'll waste your credits. It won't even light up." But he didn't lower his hand. With only a single bid, the ship was his. The other buyers shook their heads, muttering about fools and junk. But he only stared at the ship as it was pulled out of the auction bay. For reasons he couldn't explain, he felt like he already knew it. The first night was quiet. The ship sat in a small dockyard, alone under the pale glow of station lights. He climbed inside, the metal floor groaning beneath his boots. Dust rose with every step, filling his lungs with the taste of old iron. The cockpit was dead. The screens were cracked, buttons missing, wires dangling like vines. He touched the control panel, expecting nothing, but the ship hummed, just for a second. A faint vibration ran under his palm as if the ship had recognized him. Then silence again. He frowned, pulling his hand away. Strange. Later he tried to sleep on the narrow bunk inside. The walls creaked around him, echoing with age. He closed his eyes, telling himself he'd figure things out tomorrow. But then, he heard it. A sound. Soft. From deep inside the ship. At first he thought it was pipes shifting, or air leaking. But no, it was too clear, too human, a voice, whispering. He sat up quickly, heart pounding. "Who's there?" No answer. Only silence. He grabbed a small lamp and crept through the corridors. His footsteps echoed, dust swirling in the light. The whispers faded, then grew louder again, pulling him toward the back of the ship. Finally, he reached a sealed door. Its surface was different, cleaner than the rest of the ship, smoother as if untouched by time. Strange markings glowed faintly across it, symbols he didn't recognize. The whispers came from inside. He tried the panel. Dead. He pulled at the handle. Stuck. And then, the ship responded. The glowing symbols lit up brighter under his touch. The door shuddered, groaned, and slowly opened with a hiss. Cold air rushed out, carrying the scent of metal and something else. Something sweet, like flowers blooming in the dark. Inside, the room was dim. In the center stood a glass chamber, tall and curved, glowing faintly from within. And inside it, someone was sleeping. He stepped closer, eyes wide. It was a woman. Her skin shimmered faintly, smooth and radiant, with a glow not human. Her hair floated gently around her shoulders, pale as starlight. Strange markings curved along her arms and neck, pulsing softly like veins of light. She was beautiful, too beautiful to be real. His heart raced as he pressed a hand against the glass. What are you?" Her eyes opened. Silver light burst from them, bright and piercing. The glass chamber hissed, unlocking with a sharp click. Slowly, the front lifted open. The woman stepped forward, her movements graceful, otherworldly. Chains of glowing metal still clung to her wrists, rattling softly. She looked at him, straight into him. And then she smiled. Finally, she whispered, her voice soft but strong. "You came back to me, husband." The young man froze. His mouth went dry. "Husband? No, I don't even know you." But her smile didn't fade. She tilted her head, silver eyes glowing brighter. "You don't remember yet, but you will." The ship around them hummed, the walls vibrating as though they were listening. The strange markings glowed brighter, spreading across the room. He stumbled back, fear clawing at his chest. This isn't real. This is some kind of trick." The woman's chains rattled as she stepped closer. "No trick, no lie. I waited here for you. This ship kept me safe, waiting for the day you would return." His breath quickened. He turned to run, but the door behind him slammed shut with a deafening clang. The ship trapped him. The woman's voice followed him in the dark, calm and certain. "You can't leave me again. Not this time. Confusion and denial, the sealed chamber hissed shut behind him. The young man's breath came fast and shallow, his back pressed against the cold wall. In front of him, the alien woman stood tall, silver eyes glowing like two moons. Her chains rattled softly as she tilted her head. "You came back," she whispered again, her voice smooth and certain. "Just like you promised." He shook his head violently. No, that's wrong. I don't know you. I've never seen you before." But her gaze never broke. It was not the look of a stranger. It was the look of someone who knew him too well. "You don't remember yet," she said gently. "But your soul does." The words stabbed at him. He tried to laugh, tried to fight the rising panic in his chest. "This is insane. You're some experiment locked away, hidden in the ship. Someone put you here. Someone tricked me into buying this thing." The alien woman stepped forward, her movement slow, deliberate, graceful. "Would an experiment know your name?" His heart stopped because she said it. His full name perfectly, he stumbled back. How do you know that?" Her silver eyes glowed brighter. "Because I am your wife." He felt his stomach twist. He wanted to scream at her, to deny it again, but the ship itself betrayed him. The walls hummed. Strange symbols carved into the metal glowed faintly when he looked at her. The air vibrated as though the ship agreed with her words. "This isn't real," he whispered. "It can't be." The woman's chains rattled again, and she raised her hands. The broken links shimmered like liquid fire. "Real or not, the bond between us cannot be broken. Not by time, not by death, not by forgetting." Her words pressed into his mind like knives. He tried to run. He pushed against the door, slamming his fists against it, shouting for help. But the ship didn't move. The door refused to open. Behind him, her voice echoed. "Why are you running from me, husband?" He spun around, his face pale. "Stop calling me that. I'm not your husband. I'm just me." For the first time, her smile faded. Her silver eyes narrowed, sadness cutting through the glow. "You said the same thing before, when they tore us apart." His blood ran cold. "Before? What do you mean before?" The ship trembled beneath his feet. Lights flickered overhead. And then he saw it, a flash. A vision, not his life, not his memories, but something else. He saw himself in armor, holding a glowing blade. He saw her beside him, radiant, powerful, unchained. He saw fire raining from the skies, ships burning, worlds collapsing, and then chains. Her wrists bound, her body pulled away. His own voice screaming her name as darkness swallowed him. The vision shattered. He collapsed to his knees, gasping, sweat pouring down his face. The woman knelt in front of him, her glowing eyes soft again. "Now you see," "A piece of it. You were my husband. You are still my husband." He shook his head, his voice trembling. No, that was the ship, playing tricks with my mind." Her cold fingers brushed against his cheek. He flinched at the touch. It was real, solid, alive. "Not tricks, memories buried inside you." Before he could answer, a sudden noise tore through the silence, a metallic thud. Voices coming from outside the ship. He froze. The woman's head turned sharply, her silver eyes narrowing. "They've found me." The young man's chest tightened. "Who?" She stood tall, her chains rattling. "Hunters. Servants of the ones who imprisoned me. They will not let us be together." Another heavy thud shook the hull. He heard muffled shouts, men's voices. "Target detected. Open the hatch." The man's blood ran cold. Whoever they were, they didn't sound like rescuers. The woman's voice dropped to a whisper, sharp and urgent. "You must decide. Trust me or trust them. But know this, they will kill you once they know you've seen me." The ship groaned under another impact. Dust rained from the ceiling. The man's mind spun in chaos. He didn't know her. He didn't believe her. But outside, strangers were breaking in, another shout, "Blow the hatch!" "Now!" The woman's silver eyes locked onto his. "Husband, choose." And before he could answer, the ship's walls lit up. Symbols burning like fire, preparing for war. Secrets of the ship. The hatch groaned again as blows echoed from outside. The man's breath came fast. He pressed his back against the wall, staring at the alien woman who stood tall, her silver eyes glowing brighter with every strike. "They will come through," he whispered, his voice shaking. "We're trapped." The woman shook her head slowly, her glowing chains rattling. "No, this ship is alive, and it will protect us, if you let it." The man frowned, panic mixing with confusion. "Alive? Ships aren't alive." This is just metal wires and rust. Her voice sharpened, echoing through the chamber. Touch the wall. Listen. He hesitated, then pressed his trembling hand against the cold surface. At first, nothing. Then he felt it. A faint pulse. A heartbeat. The ship was breathing, his eyes widened. That's impossible. Her silver gaze did not waver. It has always been impossible. Yet here it stands. It was built not to fly, but to bond. It has waited centuries for you. The pounding outside grew louder. Sparks flew as metal torches began cutting into the hatch. The man stumbled back, fear burning in his chest. Why me? Why would this ship wait for me? The alien woman stepped closer, her glow washing over him. Because you are its other half. Without you, it is broken. With you, it becomes unstoppable. Before he could respond, the ship itself roared. Lights burst to life along the walls, bright and blinding. Symbols carved into the metal flared, racing like fire across the corridors. The floor shook, and the air vibrated with a deep, rising hum. The invaders outside froze, shouting in panic as the hatch sealed itself, melting into one solid wall. Their voices became muffled, distant. The man's heart hammered in his chest. What's happening? The woman's voice was calm, almost reverent. It is awakening. Because of you. He stumbled into the corridor, the walls glowing brighter as he passed. Every step he took lit symbols under his feet, as if the ship itself welcomed him. Why me? He asked again, his voice breaking. The alien woman followed, her chains dragging softly. Because you are not who you think you are. You are the one who bound with me before. You are the one who made the vow. The man's head spun. I don't remember making any vow. I don't even know your name. She stopped. Her silver eyes pierced into him, soft but unyielding. My name is Serenia, and once you swore to me that no force in the stars could break us. The word stabbed at his chest. A memory flickered again, too fast to grasp. Himself standing beside her, holding her hand under two moons. His own voice whispering the same vow. No, he muttered, shaking his head. That wasn't me. That was someone else. But Serenia stepped closer, her voice low. It was you. Another life. Another body. But the same soul. He staggered back, clutching his head. This is insane. I just bought a ship. That's all. I'm nobody. The ship groaned as though disagreeing. The walls opened suddenly, revealing hidden panels. Inside, glowing spheres pulsed with energy. The woman lifted her chained hands, her silver light merging with the glow. This is the core. With you it can awaken fully. The man stared in awe. The core's light reflected in his eyes. Alive, ancient, and powerful. His trembling hand lifted on its own as if pulled forward. Touch it, Serenia whispered, and you will see the truth. Before he could move, the ship shuddered violently. A deafening alarm screamed. Outside engines roared. Through a cracked viewport he saw dark shapes in space. Ships. Not just one, but dozens circling like predators. Serenia's expression hardened. They've called reinforcements. His stomach twisted. Who are they? Hunters, she said. Machines wearing flesh. They serve the masters who chained me. They will not stop until I am destroyed. And you with me, the man stumbled back, fear clawing at him. I can't fight them. I don't even know how to fly this thing. Serenia's silver eyes blazed. Then you must remember. Because without you, this ship is only bones. But with you, it becomes a weapon they fear. Another explosion shook the dock. Red warning lights flashed across the ship's interior. The hunters were cutting through the bay doors. The man's chest rose and fell, panic flooding him. He wanted to run, to hide, to deny it all. But the ship pulsed under his feet, alive, waiting. Serenia stepped closer, her voice fierce. You must choose now. Open the core or let us both die. He looked at her glowing eyes, at the chains on her wrists, at the ship burning with power all around him. His mind screamed at him to deny it. But his chest, his soul, felt the pull. He reached forward. His hand touched the glowing core. The world exploded. Light flooded through him, tearing down his fear. Visions roared into his mind, himself, Serenia. Battles across the stars, vows spoken in fire and blood. His body shook, his veins burning with energy. The ship roared with him, its light surging brighter than ever. Serenia smiled through her tears. Yes, you're waking. And outside, the hunters screamed as the dock tore apart under the force of the awakening ship. The truth begins. The ship's heartbeat echoed in the young man's chest. His hand still rested on the glowing core, light flooding through his veins. Sparks of energy cracked across his skin, wrapping him in a faint golden glow. Serenia watched him with silver eyes shimmering like stars. Her voice was low, reverent. "Yes, you feel it, don't you? The bond is waking." The man staggered back, pulling his hand away. The glow dimmed, but the pulsing inside him did not stop. He pressed a trembling palm against his chest. What's happening to me?" "You are remembering," she said simply. "Not in mind, not in memory, but in soul. The ship knows you. I know you. Even if you keep denying it, the truth will not let go." He shook his head violently. "No, I'm not this person you keep saying I am. I'm not your husband. I'm not a warrior. I'm just me." Serenia stepped forward, her glowing chains rattling. Her voice sharpened. "If you were just you, the ship would still be dead. But look around, the walls blazed with light. The engines hummed, systems repairing themselves, metal shifting like muscle. What had once been a graveyard of rust now breathed with fire and life. Outside, the hunters' ships closed in, their dark forms blotting out the stars. Through the viewport, he saw red beams of light circling the dock, cutting deeper into the station. The walls rattled with every blast. "They're coming," he whispered. Serenia nodded. "They've always been coming. That is why I was sealed here, hidden, waiting for you." His chest tightened. "Why me? Out of everyone, why me?" Her silver eyes softened, though sadness lingered. "Because once long ago you chose me. And when you chose me, the ship chose you. That bond cannot be broken, not by death, not by time, not by forgetting." The man stumbled back. "But I don't remember. I didn't choose this." Serenia's voice dropped, trembling with sorrow. "You did. You chose me before the stars burned. You swore to fight beside me until the end. And when they captured me, when they chained me, you died trying to save me." Vision struck him again, his own body falling under burning skies, Serenia screaming his name, her hands bound in chains of fire. His heart clenched as if it had lived that pain before. "No," he muttered, clutching his head. "That's not me. That's someone else." But the ship disagreed. The core pulsed, sending a wave of energy through the chamber. Symbols on the walls blazed, shifting into a single phrase. Bound. Eternal. Unbroken. His breath caught. Serenia's voice softened again. "The truth has already begun. You can run from it, but it will still find you." An explosion ripped through the dock. Metal screamed, alarms blared. The hunters had breached the station. The man staggered to the viewport. He saw them. Dark figures pouring in, not fully human, not fully machine. Their bodies gleamed with steel, their faces twisted with synthetic flesh. Red eyes glowed in the smoke. Serenia's silver gaze hardened. "They will come for me first. But they will kill you too. You've touched the core. They can feel it. They will never let you live." The man's stomach twisted. Fear clawed at him, but anger sparked too. "Why? Why do they want you so badly?" Serenia raised her chained hands. "Because I am their failure. They tried to break me. They tried to erase me. But I endured. Because I carried you. And because of me, they fear what we could become together." The hunters' voices echoed closer, metallic and cruel. "Subject located. Eliminate the bond." The man's breath shook. "I can't fight them. I don't know how." Serenia stepped closer, her silver light washing over him. "You don't need to know. The ship will show you. I will show you. But you must trust me." His fist clenched. His fear warred with something else rising inside him. Something older, stronger. The vow, the bond. Another blast rocked the ship. The hunters were at the hatch. Sparks flew as they began cutting through. Serenia lifted her chin, her voice steady. "If you run, you will die. If you fight alone, you will die. But if you stand with me, if you choose me again, we might live." He stared at her glowing eyes, his chest heaving. Outside, the hatch screeched as the hunters forced their way in. His voice cracked. "If I believe you, if I fight with you, what happens then?" Serenia's smile was small, broken, but filled with fire. "Then we remind them why they feared us." The hatch exploded inward. Hunters swarmed the corridor, weapons glowing. The man froze, his body trembling. Fear screamed at him to run. But his hand moved on its own, glowing faintly with the ship's energy. The first hunter raised its weapon. The man's palm burst with light. A wave of energy ripped through the corridor, hurling the machines back in a storm of sparks and fire. His eyes widened. His chest burned. The ship roared with him. Serenia smiled through her tears. Yes, the truth begins, and the battle was only starting, the threat outside. The corridor burned with sparks. Smoke rose from shattered metal as the first wave of hunters fell, their bodies twitching with broken circuits. The young man stood frozen, his hands still glowing faintly, chest heaving. He whispered, almost to himself, I did that? Serena stepped forward, silver eyes blazing. Yes, the ship answered you. You are beginning to wake. Before he could speak again, a deep rumble shook the floor. The entire ship vibrated as if something massive pressed down from above. Through the viewport, the stars dimmed. He turned, his eyes widening. A colossal shadow covered the dock. It wasn't just one enemy ship anymore. An entire fleet had arrived, sleek black vessels, each bristling with red lights and glowing weapons. In the center of them, a gigantic mothership loomed, its hull carved with alien symbols, its red glow pulsing like veins. The man's mouth went dry. There's too many. Serena's voice was calm, but her chains rattled with unease. This is what they do. They send waves until the bond is broken. They will not stop. The hunters outside regrouped. From the mothership, thousands of smaller craft swarmed, buzzing like angry wasps. Floodlights cut through the smoke, turning the dock into a cage of red light. A voice thundered across the comms, mechanical and merciless. Fugitive identified. Surrender now, or we will burn this world. The man's chest twisted. His mind screamed to run, but his feet stayed frozen. He looked at Serena, desperate. If I fight them, I'll die. Her silver eyes locked onto his. If you do nothing, everyone will die. You saw what you can do. Imagine what you can become. The ship pulsed around him, alive, waiting. Panels slid open, revealing weapons hidden deep in the hull. Massive cannons, sleek turrets, glowing cores. The old rusted wreck was gone. What stood now was something terrifying, something alive. Hunters outside opened fire. Red beams slammed into the dock, tearing steel apart. The entire station groaned, metal splitting, alarms screaming. Serena's voice cut through the chaos. They want me, but now they want you too, because they fear what happens if we are whole again. The man clenched his fists, his hands glowing brighter. Fear still twisted inside him, but another feeling rose too. Anger, he shouted over the rumble. Then why don't you break free? Why are you still chained? Serena raised her wrists, the glowing metal burning into her skin. Her voice cracked with pain. These chains were made from their essence. I cannot break them alone. But together, the ship roared before she could finish. Panels burst open on the ceiling, releasing beams of golden energy that shielded the hull. Outside, enemy fire struck but deflected, scattering into space. The man staggered, gripping the controls without knowing why. His body moved as if guided. Symbols lit up under his fingers, responding to his touch. Serena's eyes widened. Yes, you're sinking with the ship. His voice trembled. I don't know how I'm doing this. You don't need to know. You are remembering. That is enough. The mothership outside shifted. Its front split open, revealing a massive cannon glowing with red energy. Power built like a storm, humming across the void. The comms voice thundered again. Last warning. Hand over the fugitive, or perish with her. The man stared at the screen, his throat tight. The beam was charging. He could feel its heat even through the hull. He looked at Serena. If I fail, we're both dead. She stepped close, her silver gaze burning into him. If you choose me, if you fight with me, failure is impossible. Her words hit him harder than the explosions outside. Deep in his chest, the vow stirred again. Alive. He closed his eyes, whispering to himself. No force in the stars can break what we are. The ship responded. The words echoed through the walls, through the core, through every circuit. Golden light surged from the hull, brighter than ever before. The mothership fired. A colossal red beam tore through space, screaming toward them. The man's eyes snapped open, glowing gold. His hands moved across the controls, and the ship obeyed. A shield of pure energy burst from the hull, clashing with the red beam. The dock trembled. The void shook. Sparks of fire lit the darkness. The impact shook him to the bone, but he did not let go. Serena's voice filled his ears. Hold, husband, hold! He roared, every muscle burning, as the golden shield pushed back the red wave. Finally, with a thunderous crack, the enemy's beam shattered, scattering into space like broken glass. Silence fell for a heartbeat. Then the mothership roared, releasing hundreds of hunter crafts at once. They swarmed, flooding toward him, Serenya's chains rattled as she lifted her hands, power surging through her veins. They will come until nothing is left. This is only the beginning. The man's chest rose and fell. His fear was still there, but so was something else. Resolve. He turned to her, his voice steady. Then let's give them a reason to fear us again. The ship roared in agreement, its engines blazing to life, and together, they launched into the storm. The swarm of hunters filled the void. Black ships streaking across the stars like a plague. Red beams cut through space, explosions rattling the old dockyard. The young man gripped the controls, sweat dripping down his face. The ship roared beneath him, alive, responding to his every thought. But still, it wasn't enough. For every enemy he blasted apart, 5 more swarmed in. The mothership loomed closer, its glowing veins pulsing with deadly power. Serenia stood behind him, her chains rattling, her silver eyes blazing with fire. You can't win like this. Not halfway. Not holding back, his teeth clenched. I'm giving everything I've got. Her voice cut sharp, filled with urgency. Not everything, not yet. You are still resisting me. He froze, the ship jerking as his grip faltered. What do you mean resisting? Serenia stepped closer, her glow wrapping around him. The bond. You touched the core, yes. You've awakened the ship, yes. But until you accept me fully, until you choose me, not just in battle, but in soul, you are only half alive. Half strong, half whole. Her words burned through him. His heart pounded. I barely know you. You keep calling me your husband, telling me things I can't remember. How am I supposed to just accept that? The ship shuddered violently as enemy fire struck the hull. Warning lights blared. Sparks flew from the ceiling. Serenia leaned closer, her chains glowing hotter, almost melting. Because your soul already has. You just won't listen. Another explosion shook the ship. The swarm was closing in fast. Serenia's voice dropped, soft but fierce. If you don't let me in, we die here. Both of us, this ship will burn, and they will chain me again, forever. His chest tightened. He saw the fear in her eyes hidden beneath the fire. Not fear of death, but of being captured. Broken. Alone. Another vision slammed into him. Her, chained in fire, screaming his name as he fell. His chest ached as if torn apart. He gasped, clutching the console. I don't want to see that again. Her hand touched his shoulder, cold but steady. Then don't, choose me. Bond with me. And they will never chain us again. The ship's walls pulsed with light, waiting. The core glowed brighter, humming like a heartbeat. His hands trembled. Fear screamed in his mind. But his soul remembered. He turned to her, his voice breaking. What do I do? Serenia stepped closer until her forehead touched his. Her silver eyes burned like stars. Say it. Say the vow. His lips trembled. The words rose unbidden, ancient and familiar, bursting from his chest. No force in the stars can break what we are. The ship roared. Golden light surged from the core, racing through every wall, every circuit. The hull blazed like a sun. Enemy fire scattered, burning to nothing against the golden shield. Serenia gasped, her chains shattering in a storm of sparks. Pieces of glowing metal dissolved into the air. Her wrists, once bound, now glowed with pure light. She laughed, fierce and free. Yes, the bond is whole again. The man's body shook as energy exploded through him. His eyes blazed gold, his hands steady on the controls. The ship responded instantly, faster, stronger. It was no longer just a vessel. It was an extension of him, the swarm charged. He raised his hand. Dozens of golden beams erupted from the ship, tearing through the enemy fleet. Hunters screamed as their ships shattered like glass, fire filling the void. Serenia stood beside him, her silver light merging with his gold. Together, their glow filled the chamber, radiant and unstoppable. The mothership rumbled, its massive cannon charging again. Red lightning crawled across its surface, building a storm of destruction. But this time, the man did not flinch. He rose from the seat, glowing brighter, the ship's hum matching his heartbeat. Serenia's voice whispered beside him. Do you feel it now? This is us, this is who we were, who we are. His chest swelled with fire. For the first time, he believed her. For the first time, he was not afraid. He shouted, his voice echoing through the ship. Let's end this. The ship answered. Engines blazed brighter than suns, golden wings of energy unfurling from the hull. The entire dockyard split apart under the force, the ship rising into space like a phoenix reborn. The swarm scattered, but too late. The golden light swept across them, burning them into dust. The mothership fired. But the man and Sirenia lifted their hands together, their lights merging, forming a single shield brighter than anything the stars had ever seen. The red beam crashed against it. The void shook, fire and energy clashing in silence. And slowly, steadily, the golden light pushed forward. Sirenia's voice rang inside his mind. Together, husband. Together. The man roared, pouring everything into the bond. Together. With a deafening crack, the mothership's beam shattered, torn apart by their combined power. For a heartbeat, space was silent. Then the mothership groaned, cracks spreading across its colossal hull. Its red veins flickered. Its roar turned to a scream, and then it began to fall. The young man collapsed back into the seat, chest heaving, body trembling. His glow dimmed but did not fade completely. Sirenia stood beside him, unchained, radiant, her silver eyes soft now. She touched his face gently. Now, you remember. Don't you? He closed his eyes, whispering, broken but certain. Yes, I remember. Us, but before they could breathe. Alarms screamed again. On the screen, new shadows appeared. Bigger, darker, countless. Sirenia's smile faded, her silver eyes narrowing. They know we are awake, and now, they will send everything. The man's eyes burned gold as he lifted his head. For the first time, he did not feel small. He felt whole, he nodded. Then let them come. The final choice. The stars burned red. From the void, shadows poured like an endless tide. Hundreds of hunter warships, thousands more smaller crafts, and beyond them titans, monstrous dreadnoughts each large enough to eclipse a moon. Their hulls glowed with crimson veins, weapons humming with terrible power. The young man stared at the endless fleet, his fists trembling. Even after destroying the mothership, even after unlocking the bond, this was beyond anything he had imagined, he whispered. We can't fight all of them. Sirenia stood beside him, radiant, her silver glow steady but solemn. No, not like this. Not yet. The ship pulsed around them, alive with golden light, but its hum carried strain. The battle had taken its toll. If they stayed, they would burn out. The man clenched his jaw. Then what do we do? Sirenia's silver eyes locked onto his. For the first time, he saw fear there, not of dying, but of losing him again. We have two choices, run, or fight until the end. Her words carved into him. Running meant survival. Maybe. But it also meant leaving countless worlds at the mercy of this fleet. Fighting meant certain death, unless the bond held something more, something greater than he had yet unlocked. The ship trembled as the fleet advanced. The enemy commander's voice thundered across the void, cold and merciless. Fugitive. Bonded one. Your return is meaningless. You cannot win. Surrender her and your death will be swift. The man's chest rose and fell. His fear twisted, but fire burned underneath it. He turned to Sirenia, voice low. They're not afraid of me. They're afraid of us. That means we're more dangerous than they want us to believe. Sirenia's lips curved into the faintest smile. Yes, but to show them you must go further than before. You must give everything. Her words hung heavy. He knew what she meant. The bond was awake, but not complete. He had let it in halfway. To unlock its full power, he would have to surrender everything, his fear, his doubt, his very self. If he did, there was no turning back. The fleet moved closer. Red beams charged, glowing brighter, casting firelight across the void. Sirenia's silver eyes burned into his. What will you choose, husband? He closed his eyes. In the darkness, visions came again. Himself long ago, standing at her side, swearing the vow. Dying for her. Losing her. Waking again in another life, alone, empty. And now here she was. Chains broken. Waiting. His lips whispered the words again. No force in the stars can break what we are. The bond roared. Golden light surged from his chest, filling the ship, filling Sirenia. Their glows merged, silver and gold, burning brighter, fusing into one blinding light. Sirenia gasped, her voice echoing in his mind. You're doing it. You're giving everything. The man's eyes snapped open, blazing pure gold. His voice thundered with power, not entirely his own. Then let's finish this. The enemy fleet opened fire. Beams of red energy streaked across the void, tearing space apart, but the ship rose, radiant as a newborn star. Golden wings of energy unfurled, stretching wide, shielding worlds behind them. The beams struck, but instead of breaking, they bent, dissolving into nothing against the bond's light. Serenia lifted her hands, and the chains that once bound her became blades of silver fire. The man raised his own, and golden arcs blazed from his palms. Together their light fused a storm of radiant fury. They struck back. The swarm scattered, hundreds of hunters burning in the storm. Dreadnoughts shook as golden fire tore through their hulls. The fleet faltered for the first time in centuries, but the power came at a cost. The man felt it draining him, pulling deeper and deeper, burning his very soul. Serenia's voice filled his mind, soft, trembling. "If you keep this up, you won't survive." He gritted his teeth, sweat pouring down his face. "Then we don't stop until they're gone." Her silver eyes shone with tears even as her fire raged. "You always were stubborn," the enemy commander roared. "Fool, you cannot destroy us all." The dreadnoughts regrouped, charging their massive cannons. The void itself seemed to tremble. The man's body shook, his glow flickering, his vision blurred. But he forced himself to stand, his voice steady. "If I fall with her. And if we fall, we take you with us." The ship roared with him, its core blazing like a sun about to explode. The golden light spread wider and wider, until it swallowed the battlefield. The hunters fired, the dreadnoughts unleashed their fury, and he unleashed everything. For a moment, there was only silence. The void burned gold, the fleet shattered, ships torn apart, dreadnoughts breaking under the storm. The enemy commander's voice turned to static, then silence. When the light finally faded, the stars returned. Where the fleet had stood, only debris drifted, glowing faintly in the endless dark. The man collapsed back into the chair, his glow fading. His chest rose and fell weakly. He had nothing left. Serenia caught him, her silver arms wrapping around him, her tears falling softly. "You gave everything." His lips curved into the faintest smile. "So did you." Her forehead rested against his. "And still, we remain." The ship's hum softened, steady, alive. The bond had not destroyed them. It had remade them. Stronger, whole. For the first time, the void was quiet, but Serenia's silver eyes narrowed, her voice soft. "They will come again, stronger. The masters will not let this go." The man nodded, his golden eyes dim but fierce. "Then we'll be ready. Together." And in the silence of the stars, bound by vow and fire, husband and wife prepared for whatever came next.